For anyone that missed it, one needs to get caught up. So take a moment, list 4 coordinate pairs from the linear function, and find the slope for me. We did this just now because a lot of students are having trouble when I don't mark off a bunch of points to find the slope. So, unless you want a spoiler, go ahead and mute me, or pause me, excuse me. Otherwise, keep the video shorter, I'm going to get going. I said list 4 coordinate points from the linear function below. To find them, we need good points. And that's where the y-axis, x-axis, and a line meets, the line we're studying. So it's got to be like an intersection of the line, the y-axis, and the x-axis where it all crosses. Or like the y, the x values, the y. Anyways, you get what I'm saying. Where the lines triple cross. So do I see any here? Well, yep, there's the y-intercept. Do I see any other triple? Well, yep, right here. Boom, there's a triple cross. Boom, that's another good one. Boom, that's another good one. Boom, that's another good one. All right, so I found 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are the only good points that you know for certain. So we have the point -2, 8, 0, 5, 2, 2, 4, -1, and 6, -4. Those are literally the only points for sure that you can match. All right. These are all bad points to try to choose because you don't know exactly how far, like where in the x-axis, where in the x it is, or where in the y, one or the other, or both, right? Even here, the x-intercept, you don't know what that is exactly, right? You don't know everything about any of these points. There's so many bad points not to choose. Okay. When you're finding slope, you can find any 2 points, right? You could have used these 2. We get 3 over 2. But it's a negative slope, so our slope is -3 over 2. But you could have chosen larger ones, like these 2 way over here. But Mr. Moran, how can that be the same slope? Well, let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that rise is 9, that run is 6. And it's a negative line. See, Mr. Moran, they're different numbers. You get -9, 6 and -3 over 2. Well, technically they're slightly different, but in the end they're equivalent. These are equivalent fractions. We can divide both by 3. That's how you simplify fractions. You get -3 over 2. Boom. These are the same. So you get to choose any 2 points. Okay? Any 2 points to find the slope. You could have also used the slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Picked any 2 of these points, and you would have got it. I'm going to take these 2. 0, 5, and 2, 2. 2 minus 5 over 2 minus 0, -3 over 2. And we get the answer either way, which is fantastic. All right, that's the do now. All right. After a horrible 4.6 day 2, kids were still struggling. So I made another day, lesson 31, because students were still struggling with slope-intercept. Linear equations we discovered can be written in the form y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y value of the y-intercept. Right? So we just need to know those 2 things. This is the same line we just saw earlier. We just have to identify the slope and y-intercept. Right? We know the slope of this line is -3 over 2. The y-intercept is 0, 5, so we only care about the b, which is 5. And now, you should all be good. I told you in class that my daughter can do it, and she's in 2nd grade. I showed her, that's not what I meant to write. I said y goes mx plus b. M is the slope. B is the y value of the y-intercept. I said you just plug it in once you find it. Oh, so Daddy, the y-intercept, the slope goes here in front of the x, and the y-intercept's y value of 5 goes here. And I said, yeah, that's it, honey. You just wrote an equation for that line. Oh, that's easy, Daddy. Right? And then I had her, gave her the slope, gave her the y-intercept, and she could plug it in. I know that you can do this, all right? It just takes a little focus. But here we go. We found our slope, -3/2. We found our y-intercept, 0, 5. We can write the equation for this line. All right, but we decided to move forward, right, on this lesson. Here is a linear function. To write an equation for it, we need the slope and y-intercept, right? That's what we just talked about. Unfortunately, we can't see the y-intercept. But there is a way to find it with the point that they give us and the slope. Okay, so this is new. We don't know the y-intercept. We could probably say, I don't know, somewhere up here somewhere. We just don't know. We can't see it. The cool thing is we can find it. In this line, we know the slope is 3. It gives us a point, -2, 5. So x and y, right? So we can use these 3 pieces to find the y-intercept. We know m. We know x, and we know y. We know m, we know x, we know y. Oh, yeah! We can use substitution. What's the y value they give us? 5. There's our 5, right? Equals. What's the slope of this line? Well, it is 3. The x is -2. But again, we don't know the b value. We don't know the y-intercept way up here. I don't get it, Miss Marin. Well, look, all you're missing is b. So in 2 steps, 3 times -2 is -6. And then if we can find out what b is by doing something to both sides, we could just add 6 to both sides. That will get b by itself, and now we know that b is 11. The y-intercept is 0, 11, by knowing the x, the y, and the b, and the m. And let's count. Let's check it out. Let's see if we were right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So maybe more up here somewhere. And yeah, it gets right above, whoops, sorry, couldn't see that. It gets right up around 11. So we can plug in what we know to find the y-intercept. Okay. And now we could write the equation. Like I mentioned earlier, I said, oh, now you know m, honey, and now you know b. Can you plug them in? And she's like, of course, Daddy. I just go like this. Y equals 3x plus the 11 we found, Daddy. I'm like, awesome work, honey. She couldn't do all the math over here and didn't figure it out, but once I said the slope b is 11 and the slope is 3, she could put it in the equation and write it for us. Okay? So let's do another one together where we find the y-intercept. We don't know what it is. Again, we know our form. We know that m, our slope, is 1. And we know our point, which is 4, 1, x and y. You substitute in the y value for y. The m is 1. The x value is 4 plus b, which we don't know. Then we can do the x times m, or m times x, and then solve it by taking away 4 from both sides. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, that it's somewhere at -3 here. Okay. Boom. We found the y-intercept. And again, like my daughter said, she just started doing this. Yeah, Daddy, we know that m is 1 and b is -3, so I can write the equation. And I would say awesome. And if you wanted to, you could simplify it to its final answer, but I was okay with my daughter leaving it as at 1x plus -3. All right, now is a chance for you to practice. Go ahead, take a moment. Find me the y-intercept for each of these. Okay, now would be a great chance to pause. I'm going to keep going. Spoiler. So come along with me, pause me, and then watch me. So we know m, we know x, and we know y. Just going to plug in what I know. Again, plug in what we know. Plug in what we know. And again, plug in what we know. Okay, so those are the the y-intercepts for all 4 lines. And then again, I told you, you know the slope, you know b. We can write the equation. And we can write the equation for this one now. And this one. And finally, this one. Okay, and any of those plus negatives could also be subtraction, but I like to do plus negative, at least as we're learning this for the first time. All right, here's where I have you find the y-intercept. Okay, it's the second part of the classwork. I'm not going to go over it, but you just saw me do 4. You can do the same thing, okay? I will do it quickly, but I'm not going to talk it through, just so you had the answers. 0, 1. These I don't even have. I can just see them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why even do it if I can see it, right? There it is. There's the answers, okay? All right. I don't have the answers to the homework, but there are. You go ahead. And there's an example above that could have helped you, but I got all the answers, I think. Hopefully I didn't make a mistake. Mr. Marin does that sometimes. All right, so that was lesson